They were cousins across the Atlantic, the Ford Consul in Europe and the Mercury Cougar in America. In 1972, Ford Europe introduced the Consul in Germany in 3 body styles, 2 and 4-door sedans, and the très chic sport sedan. The Consul's 2-liter V6 engine put out around 90 horsepower. Buyers could also opt for a lesser 2-liter 4V SX engine. The Consul's design was a product of 1970s tastes. The 1974 Cougar was built to American dimensions. At 5.5 meters long and 2 meters wide, it was too big for Germany's average garage. Mercury was a marque of the Ford Motor Company till 2011. The first generation 1967 Cougar was based on the sporty Ford Mustang, but by the mid-1970s, it had been transformed into something of a battleship, a gas guzzler that could have hardly been more ill-timed at the start of the oil crisis. Seen through today's eyes, the massive sedan looks way too bulky, but that was 1970s American car design. Nothing elegant or sleek about it, just heft. The buyer could order it with the 7.5-liter, 380 horsepower big block engine. The spacious interior and richly padded seats gave the driver the feeling of sitting in the luxury office of some Texas oil tycoon. Dirk Solomon rents out vintage cars in Berlin, including a Cougar and a Consul. They can lend a wedding party a touch of nostalgic extravagance.
He explains that people who rent the Cougar mainly want to drive an engine that has 4 more cylinders than their own car and feel the power. In the 1970s, the Cougar was one of the last American cars with a truly big engine. But the Ford Consul attracts mainly younger people who think it's cool to go for a spin in a car from the 1970s. Dirk says if he felt like stepping on the gas and really letting it rip, he'd definitely choose the Cougar. Yet there are also times when he thinks it would be nice to drive the Ford Consul. It was a common sight here in Germany. In contrast, you could have counted the Cougars in Germany on one hand. And so his favorite for here and now is the Cougar. The 70s mustache, Prada glasses, and gold chains go with the Cougar like fries with a hamburger. Unfortunately, so does its fuel consumption, a whopping 20 liters per 100 kilometers. In the early 70s, the Consul and its successor, the Granada, were Germany's taste of the American way of drive, as the pseudo-English slogan went. Even though Ford scaled the American-inspired model to European dimensions, it was still too big for many German buyers. The Ford plant in Cologne followed American design cues. Black plastic up, down, and all around. Both Cougar and Consul were upholstered in vinyl. At first glance, the Consul seems a relic of the world of glam rock, sideburns, and platform shoes. But this is exactly the car's allure for today's classic fans. And the German Ford's handling feels surprisingly modern, even sporty, especially compared to its American cousin.
Bigger is not always better or more expensive. A vintage Consul in good condition can be had starting at 6,000 euros, if you can find one. But a second-generation Mercury Cougar would easily cost twice as much. The two Ford sedans are from two different worlds, but they have in common 70s nostalgia.